what we will do in tide heaven. The Bible describes beautiful places prepared for believers, almost like dream homes beyond imagination. Even animals are described as becoming peaceful and harmless toward one another. In heaven, joy never ends and there will be no more sadness, fear, or pain. Many Christians believe we will recognize and reunite with others we knew before. Many believe there will be great feasts and celebrations shared with everyone in peace. Heaven is also believed to be filled with countless people from every nation and generation. Angels will no longer be a mystery, and we may even speak with them face to face. Worship in heaven will never feel forced because people will constantly be surrounded by God's presence. And unlike life on earth, heaven is described as eternal life filled with peace forever.
Fun fact: the reason Francis was sent to military school in Malcolm in the Middle was because of Hollywood's child labor laws. California has some of the strictest child labor laws in the world, which were introduced in response to the brutal conditions child actors endured in the 1920s and 30s. Judy Garland specifically was forced to work 18 hours a day, fed amphetamines to keep her performing, and then locked away the few hours she wasn't performing. In response to various scandals, California put strict laws in place that regulate how many hours a child actor can spend on set, as well as how much of that time can be spent filming versus chilling, mandatory 12-hour breaks between filming days, as well as mandatory school hours with a dual-purpose teacher/guardian. And since 3 out of the 4 main characters in Malcolm in the Middle were under the age of 16 when they started filming, the crew was incredibly limited by how many hours a day they could film. So the writers sent Francis to military school, which allowed the crew to film 6-ish hours with Malcolm, Reese, and Dewey, let them go home, and then film another 6-ish hours with Francis.
Here are some photos taken right before disaster, part 13. This photo was taken at the Burning Man festival. He decided it was a good idea to run into the burning effigy. And just like you would think, he burned to death. That was the last photo ever taken of him. This photo shows 14-year-old Keith Sapsford. He hid in the wheel of a flight leaving Sydney towards Japan. The photo was taken by John Gilspin. He was testing his new camera lens out and ended up getting the last moments of Keith's life. This is the last photo ever taken of Geraldine. She decided it was a good idea to go on a hiking expedition all alone. Her body was only discovered 2 years after she initially disappeared. When her body was found, it was discovered that she had survived some 20 plus days after she initially went missing. She had likely died of starvation and exposure to the elements. She had attempted to contact her husband with a text, asking him to call authorities, so she knew she was gonna die. Pretty sad.
Top 3 police officers who actually encountered demons. A retired law enforcement officer named Michael said that he remembers going on a call many years ago for an elderly person needing medical assistance. He said that they arrived at the scene to find an elderly woman sitting in a chair experiencing some difficulty breathing. They assessed her and determined that she needed to be transferred to a hospital. He remembers comforting her and telling her that everything was going to be fine and that she was going to get the care that she needed at the hospital. Then he said that he turned around and he started walking away when all of the sudden this very deep demonic voice came out from deep within her. He said it sent chills up his back and the hairs on his neck stood on end. He said that he turned around and looked at her and it was not the same old lady that he had been speaking to minutes before. Her face had transformed, and he couldn't make out what it was saying, but he said that just as quickly as it came, it left. He wasn't sure if anyone else there heard what he did. She was then transported to the hospital from there, and Michael said that he didn't speak of this to anyone. He said that years later, though, he encountered one of the other officers from that call, and he came up to him and brought up the incident and said that he had witnessed the same thing that Michael did. The other officer said that it freaked him out so bad and that he knew it was demonic.
There's a lot of sick individuals defending this looks maxing influencer who's about to be prison maxing after what police found on his phone. This is 18-year-old Mason Hull, aka Holo. He gets millions of views, but everything's private now, because last week his former girlfriend Via went through his phone one morning, expecting to find him possibly cheating on her. But it was far worse. Instead, Via said she found numerous incidents of Holo buying CSAM. This is the text between them, by the way, where he literally admits to it. Via immediately went to the police while he was still asleep, and she told police everything and showed them the screenshots she had taken on her phone. Police go to his apartment and take his phone. While the investigation is going down, Via also exposes him online, because obviously this man is a danger. He has the audacity to post this. No stress, there's always two sides to a story. Coincidence that she's overly pushing trying to get this out on social media after us separating? Easiest way to spread misled information is online, and therefore I will release with a video on my behalf. With time, the truth will reveal itself, stay tuned. This guy also took the advice of his manager and started memeing about it, posting this specifically on TikTok, 5x5, which means the $25 he spent. This Holo guy also has two little sisters, one of them is adopted and she's Asian. And at one point, he apparently told his girlfriend Via he hopes his 10-year-old sister grows up to be a hot anime girl. If the girlfriend's testimony of what she saw isn't enough for you, there's this influencer named Gideon who literally tricked Holo into thinking he was on his side and got him to admit everything on video. Sarasota police arrested Mason Hull yesterday, May 6. He's been charged with 15 counts of possessing CSAM, and he's looking at years in prison if convicted. Also, I forgot to mention this guy adopted 2 cats with his girlfriend and then started looking up disturbing stuff about animals.
Let's see if you have thalassophobia, part 3. I'm going to show you 5 photos. If you feel too uncomfortable to make it to the 5th photo, then you could have thalassophobia. Number 1. How about this? Feeling uncomfortable yet? Nearly there. Last one. Hit follow to see if you can make it through the next phobia test.
This boy has never had chocolate before. Just look at his reaction. We should be grateful for everything we have. This is so heartwarming. Share this as act of kindness.
Horror movies that would be absolutely impossible to survive, part 5. 30 Days of Night. Now, we are talking about people that are trapped in a small town in Alaska during 30 days of full pitch black darkness, which is a real thing in Alaska, which is kind of terrifying. But it wouldn't be a horror movie if something didn't show up, and that is arguably the scariest version of vampires we have ever seen. They're extremely fast and extremely vicious, and they're treating this tiny Alaskan town like an all-you-can-eat buffet. And I'm gonna be honest, the biggest threat isn't even technically the vampires. We are talking about below 0 temperatures, no sunlight, and there ain't nobody to come and save you, because the second you make any kind of noise, they're on that ass. We then have to talk about The Faculty, which is a movie that follows high school teachers that start acting weird. Then people start slowly realizing that alien parasites are now taking over the school, which at first you're like, oh, that doesn't sound that bad. Until you realize you can't tell who's human and who isn't. Your teacher could be infected. Your best friend could be infected. Hell, the school mascot could be infected. And you have no idea. Because I guarantee you 90% of us are just gonna go throughout the normal day, think everything's normal, until you realize you're now a part of the hive. And finally, you have 13 ghosts. And I don't think this one's talked about enough, because we were talking about a family that inherits a massive giant glass mansion. But the house itself is more or less a supernatural machine, trapping ghosts. But we're not talking regular ghosts here. We're talking about violent, nightmare-level spirits. And each one of them has their own horrifying backstory. And the reason ain't nobody surviving is the simple fact that the house itself is a massive trap. You don't know the layout. The walls themselves keep shifting. And ghosts themselves could appear out of nowhere. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to see any ghosts. Don't forget to like and follow for more, and comment down below if you want part 6.
Police are urgently hunting for a predator who dressed up in a Pink Panther costume to stalk and nearly abduct school children in broad daylight. Parents say the masked creep began chasing after 4 of the children and physically tried to grab the youngest little.
If you're in Fredericksburg, Virginia, be on the lookout for this Pink Panther guy in a costume. So this happened on Thursday, May 14th at 4:30 p.m. A resident says that her 2 children were waiting at the bus stop. An individual wearing a pink animal costume was staring at them from across the street, and I mean, it's not even close to Halloween. That's creepy. And especially doing this to children. Upon the arrival and departure of the school bus, the costumed individual is alleged to have crossed Lafayette Boulevard with the stoppage of traffic. Now, according to the mother, the Pink Panther costume guy kept approaching the 4 children before attempting to chase them. They began running in the opposite direction. At one point in that pursuit, the individual is alleged to have attempted to grab one of the smaller children, so he tried to grab the slowest, smallest girl from the group. One of the children said that they saw a man's face beneath the costume. The kid also saw facial hair and a tan complexion. Police have been notified. They are looking for the suspect right now. The original video was from Rush the Realtor on TikTok, but this shows this guy wearing cowboy boots and a plaid flannel, something that he probably wears every day. Many are theorizing right now this guy is going to drop his Pink Panther costume now that the heat is on him, and he's probably just going to wear, his regular outfits. This includes the cowboy boots and the plaid flannel, so that might be an identifying item if he's wearing this every day. Things get weirder too. The guy went into a convenience store and the lady was freaked out. She's like, dude, take that mask off right now. You're going to scare the customers. He didn't even take it off. He didn't even acknowledge her or say anything. He just left. Once again, I want to emphasize, since this case has gone viral, the guy's probably going to ditch the costume, or if he's a sicko that really wants the attention, he's going to wear it again and parade around. Let me know your thoughts on this case, guys.
This is a true horrifying story. This story took place in Kuwait in the year 1997. Weddings back then were very traditional in Arabic countries, and they still are. A wedding bridal party would take place in the bride's house before the actual wedding day. In these bridal parties, usually a female band group are hired to play music. Ones that play these ancient Arabic music, the ones with the Arabic drums. A very famous female band group were very known back in the 90s named Tagagat Nura. They got a call one night for an inquiry to play at a bride's party. They negotiated the price, prepared for the party, and then got the address. On the bridal's day, this is Nura by the way, her and her team finally reached the house. The house looked very nice. It had many lights outside. There were children playing, women all dressed up. They were greeted by the bride's mother. They were taken to the guest room so they can prepare before playing the music. At 9 p.m., Noura and her team start playing, and the ladies go wild and start dancing. They did not stop playing the music till 12 midnight. They asked the bride's mom for a short break, but she refused. She told them that she would pay them extra if they continued playing the music. So they keep playing for an extra 2 hours, and they get shocked at how these ladies don't get tired from all this dancing. At one point, the electricity goes completely off, and then they were ordered to continue playing so they can send someone to check the electricity. So Noura and her team continue playing in pitch darkness. The way these women were dancing was kind of off and strange. It was kind of scary in a way that this band has never seen before. So this is what happened next. One of the artists fainted on stage. They immediately stopped playing, picked her up and took her to the guest room. They tried to wake her up, and then she did and started crying from fear. They asked her what was going on, what happened, and she responded by saying one of the women that were dancing had legs that did not look like human legs. They looked like goat legs. And Noura immediately knew what kind of beings were inside this house. They slowly snuck outside through the window and started running for their lives. While they were running through the neighborhood, there was a random guy that was walking. He stopped them and yelled at why they were shouting in the middle of the night. They said that they were playing music for that big house, and an incident has happened. And the man asked, what house? The ladies pointed at the house again. And the man looked at the house and told them that this house has been abandoned and left empty for 10 years, and that no one lives in that house anymore. They peeked at the house again, and there were no cars, no people, no lights, no children. It was a plain, abandoned, empty house. They thought to themselves that, were they all dreaming the same thing? Was it all just an imagination that they all imagined at the same time? These were jinns that they were playing for. This is in fact a true story. And this is the real picture that was taken inside that wedding.
This cute horror game about picking flowers is actually hiding something horrible. Let's talk about a free horror game called Hebi Loma. Full playthrough of the entire game is on my channel now. Our character lives alone in a cabin in the middle of the woods, and our only goal is to find and photograph different plants to add to our guidebook. Before we leave the house on the first day, we eat some breakfast, get some water, and read the paper which contains an article about a missing girl. Now, the game itself is actually quite peaceful. We hear the birds chirping, the water in the river running, and even the leaves rustling on the ground as we walk. But as I explored, I started to find strange things. There's more missing posters the deeper we go into the woods. But why would there be any missing posters here? We are way off the beaten path. No one else even lives out here except us. And I swear, I keep seeing a figure appearing in the thick of the woods when it gets dark. Our character is getting tired, they seem more nervous, and when we come home one night and look in the mirror, we see this. The dread this game builds is crazy. It's not a jump scare focused experience or anything like that. I'm not gonna spoil how it ends, but the game is free. Very curious on y'all's interpretation of the story here.
psychology tricks that make parenting so much easier that I know work because I have 11 siblings to field test this shit on. You know what? Half these work on adults too. Kids are just small humans, and humans hate being told no. So try the yes but method. Instead of being like, hey, do you want to play with me? No. Boo. Hey, you want to play with me? Yes, but I gotta finish this first. The illusion of choice is undefeated. Stop telling your kid what to do and start getting your kid to think that what you want them to do is actually their idea. Instead of being like, do your homework, be like, hey, do you want to do your homework in a blue pen or a red pen? Instead of saying like, did you hit your sister? You say, why did you hit your sister? If your kid is just screaming and will not stop, interrupt them. Be like, hey, what color are your shoes again? The brain's just like, what? And even better, honestly, you could be like, you're mad, don't smile. Straight face, don't smile. Don't smile, you're mad. If a baby or toddler falls in front of you, don't react. They're watching you. They're gonna react how you react. If you're like, oh my God, they're gonna be like, ah. If you're just like neutral or even laughing at it, they'll do the same. People are naturally resistant to negatives, and you can reduce this friction by just being a little bit more careful with your words. Instead of being like, don't run, say, please walk. For the love of God, please make sure your kids are actually thinking for themselves, especially if they're in that why phase. Like, why this, why that, why? You don't have to answer every single question. You can instead just be like, I don't know, what do you think? Half the time they answer their own question and you save your own sanity. You've been here long enough to notice that there's a lot of people out here with very little emotional intelligence. That's because their parents messed them up, and you don't have to do the same thing to your kid, okay? If they're upset, don't tell them to stop crying or do the whole, I'm going to give you something to cry about. Actually, label their emotion for them. Hey, you're frustrated, you're mad. And then teach them what to do about it. That's how you actually get a person to be able to regulate themselves. You don't want to be that old person sitting in the nursing home wondering why your kids don't ever call you or talk to you. You got to make sure that you actually teach your kids to be able to talk to you. Tell me more is a great one. And also, for the love of God, if you make a mistake, own up to it. Apologize. Your kids will respect you more. If you have older kids, public embarrassment works wonders, okay? Like, be like, hey, if you don't stop, I'm going to start singing loudly. It works, I promise. And if it doesn't, the trick is you actually have to follow through on your promise. Your kid won't stop whining. Just tell them that you're allergic. And then when they're whining, just sneeze uncontrollably. They'll stop. Most of these aren't even about kids. They're just how people work. And if you can understand how people work, you can create a better human.
This is the mildly infuriating challenge. I'm going to show you 5 of the most irritating photos that you'll see all day. Remember, if you get angry, you lose. So let's go. Number 1. Feeling angry yet? How about this? Stay calm. Last one. Did you make it through all 5 without feeling the rage? If not, you could be stressed out, so this is your excuse to take some time and relax. Follow now to see if you can make it through the next mildly infuriating challenge.
Inside the Warrens Occult Museum, there's this mannequin dressed in white, and she is an homage to the infamous Connecticut White Lady. And no, I'm not talking about a middle-aged white woman named Karen. In Easton, Connecticut, there is a graveyard named Union Cemetery. It's been noted to be one of the most haunted graveyards within the US. That is thanks to the White Lady, a young woman who's been described as having long black hair and a long white flowing gown. Over the last 80 years, she has been sighted at night wandering among the gravestones, but also among the surrounding roadways, terrorizing drivers, some of which have even claimed to actually hit her with their car. These witness reports range from the police that patrol the area, to local residents, to even the infamous Ed Warren, who has actually claimed to capture her on video back in September 1990. And on a personal note, I live in Connecticut and I grew up here, so I do have a relative who has claimed to have seen the White Lady. Since I live here, we're gonna go to Union Cemetery together and hang out, you know? I've never been. But back to the documented cases. Back in 1990, a man named Rob was driving home from work late at night when he sees something out of the corner of his eye in his passenger seat. He quickly turns his head and sees an old man sitting next to him in 1930s attire. He's shocked and trying to process what he just looked at, and at the same time, he looks back briefly at the road and he sees a woman in the road with a long dress on. And within the moment that he hits the brakes, he instantly feels a blow of wind go past him. Then within that second, the man and the woman are now gone. Allegedly, he looks up in his rearview mirror and he just sees a line of a magenta color on the side of the road that he was driving on. While this is happening, he's overcome with this feeling of dread. I mean, maybe it's because he thinks he just possibly killed somebody, maybe. But in the rearview mirror, he doesn't see a body, he sees nothing except that color. So he continues to drive home, horrified, extremely emotional. He wakes his wife up when he gets home, he tells her about what happens, and then the very next day, he calls the Warrens. He's interviewed by Ed, and this is what prompts Ed Warren to start investigating the cemetery itself. But this is also when he meets Lorraine Warren, and he explains to her, when this happened, I was overcome with this feeling of dread and sorrow. She would tell him, when you see a spirit like this, you take on the anguish and pain of the spirit. You take on their emotion. This is when Ed Warren stays in the cemetery for a week straight, and on the 7th night, allegedly catches her on his VHS camera.
Alhamdulillah. Astaghfirullah, the end is coming closer. Firstly, he's wearing a hijab as a man, which is wrong. Then he says Alhamdulillah and he throws a plate on the wall. Looking at back, there's all pictures of shaitan, astaghfirullah. What is wrong with this ummah? May Allah protect us from the shaitan. Please share this and spread awareness now.
These girls are stuck inside a school where they're never allowed to go outside. But the people running the school are hiding something terrifying. This movie is called Level 16 and you won't believe the plot twist. So in this school, there's levels that the girls have to reach, and they're told that they're going to be adopted by new families when they reach level 16. But of course that is not what happens. Things start getting weirder and weirder by the minute. They have to take these mysterious vitamins for some reason, and they have to be trained on how to be clean and proper. Until one day this girl Sophia tells another girl Vivian to not take the vitamins and see what happens. So Vivian spits out her vitamins, and in the middle of the night, a guard comes in and takes her to a showroom. And then an old couple comes in and starts talking about her skin, saying how it's never been damaged by sunlight. So why are these girls really in this school? And what really happens to them when they reach the final level? Follow if you want me to spoil the ending.
Why are males the most beautiful creatures? This is a female Indian deer. And this is a male Indian deer. Male deer develop antlers to compete for mates. This is a female angelfish. And this is a male angelfish. Male angelfish are often more vibrant and eye-catching in appearance. This is a female peacock. And this is a male peacock. Male peacocks evolved giant colorful feathers to attract females. This is a female impala. And this is a male impala. Male impalas grow large curved horns used for fighting and attracting females. This is a female lion. And this is a male lion. Male lions grow large manes to appear stronger and more dominant. This is a female turkey. And this is a male turkey. Male turkeys display colorful feathers to attract attention during mating season.
Oink, oink, zoo pals. Buzz, buzz, zoo pals. Quack, quack, zoo pals. Zoo pals make eating fun, fun.
Why aren't we talking about how Mackenzie Shirilla literally admitted she was guilty in these other documentaries? One of them is this Hulu episode of Mean Girl Murders, where it really shows how she wanted to be an influencer and she wanted to be famous at any cost. She actually tells her mother in prison that she is guilty. She spoke to her in Pig Latin, or something that sounded like Pig Latin but wasn't Pig Latin.
Something to her. Yes.
And then it's like, did they know she was going to go to prison? Did they think that she could maybe possibly go to prison and need to come up with a secret code to talk to each other in? Why don't they want people to know what they're saying to each other? In this language, she tells her mother, can we just tell the police that I had a seizure? If it's true, just go ahead and tell them. I thought you didn't remember what happened. On top of that, she scoped out the area just a couple days before the crash. She planned this out. She knew how she was going to drive the car. Or if she didn't, she knew the route. She went over there for literally no reason. She scoped it out and then she continued on her way. Now, I will say a resident from the town did come out and say that was a very popular shortcut, especially from leaving the school to get away from the traffic. That's a big reason why the documentaries don't always show that part. But the whole town does still think she is guilty. This documentary also interviews like the close people in her circle and her friends from school, and everyone's like, she was a bully, she got into a lot of physical fights. And the physical fight thing is a huge red flag. Now, the other documentary on Hulu is called Killer Cases Murder on Wheels, and this actually goes a lot deeper into the crash evidence. It's centered more around the victims than Mackenzie. In the documentary, they look at the car data and why prosecutors believe that she purposely sped up instead of trying to stop the car. If you really look into the case, though, you will learn that Netflix left out a lot or they didn't explain a lot. Whenever they do documentaries, they keep things very neutral. I would have liked more details on this case. I think what they did with Gabby Petito, where they did multiple episodes, was really great, and they could have done that for this. People are also rewatching the Netflix documentary, and they're noticing a lot of weird moments. Like when Mackenzie is like, am I doing too much while she's filming? They're taking that comment as like she cared about how she looked on camera more than she cared about the accountability. But I get it, like you're second guessing everything you're saying because everything could just potentially incriminate you more. You don't want to come off as a liar, but I do think she is guilty. I'm just kind of trying to play devil's advocate here. Honestly, the deeper you dig into this case, the more guilty Mackenzie is. Also, hi, I'm Grace. Can I be your horror girly?
Fun fact, a Hawaiian man who beat up a disrespectful tourist was given a letter of recognition by a state senator and dubbed the Ambassador of Aloha. In early May, a tourist visiting Lahaina was walking along the beach looking at a beloved endangered Hawaiian monk seal named Lani playing in the water. The man then picked up a rock and threw it directly at the seal's head, narrowly missing it, and people on the beach started yelling at the man, telling him to stop and that they'd called the police. To which the man said, "I'm rich enough to pay the fines," and pushed people aside as he tried to leave the beach. At which point a local environmental activist shared some Hawaiian culture with the man before the police arrived and arrested him. The man's now facing 2 years in jail and $70,000 in fines. Hawaiian Senator Brenton Awa later said that he doesn't condone violence, but he'd be giving the environmental activist, who's being kept anonymous, a letter of recognition for his efforts to preserve Hawaii's wildlife and dubbed him the Ambassador of Aloha. Senator Awa also said that he hopes airlines will start playing videos like this on flights into Hawaii as a warning that if you disrespect the locals, their lands, or the wildlife, you will find out.
Okay, guys, I've been holding off on watching the Pinocchio Unstrung trailer. I'm so incredibly excited for this movie, but I can't wait any longer, so let's watch it together.
It's always hard losing someone you love. I'm sorry I had to experience all that so young.
I wish Zach was still here. It doesn't feel the same anymore.
Oh? It's giving The Boy. Dude, the peering around the corner, I can't. Freaks me out.
Come down, there's someone here I want you to meet.
Low-key Richard Brake also kind of
I
freaks
just
me out.
thought you could use a friend. This could be good for the both of you.
No.
It's alive.
Oh, that looks so good.
It's like white boys that made different from you. Organs and stuff. I want to be just like you.
Oh,
no,
shadow.
You don't. You're way cooler than me.
Get out of there.
Take what they have, piece by piece.
Is it Jiminy Cricket?
To make yourself whole. Who are you?
Name's Cricket. Piece by piece, we'll take everything you need to be real.
Oh my god, I love that.
What the hell is he?
Pinocchio!
Oh.
You're James the Storm!
One hell of a glow up, kid.
Girl?
I think Geppetto is hiding something.
My belief that the soul does indeed remain after death.
Call the police. Well, and tell them what, Dudley? That a homicidal doll is on the loose?
The subject is dangerous, born evil.
This is so good.
I'm going to be a real boy. I'm going to be just like James.
Oh. What the hell?
Pinocchio!
Oh my god, guys, I was not expecting it to be that gory. That is so... Oh, this is going to be so freaking good. Honestly, such a smart idea for a horror movie. Pinocchio looks so good, and getting Cricket to be voiced by Robert Englund is so iconic. Look, I know that I'm biased, but the Twisted Childhood universe is getting better and better with each movie. You just can't deny that.
How active an orc itself is.